Okay, let's officially kick off Pitch Fest. I will pitch myself as an example for all of you, and then I will just go around the Zoom room. Okay? So, hi everybody. I am Julie Marty-Pearson. I am coming to you from Bakersfield, California, Central Southern California. For those of you that aren't sure, I am a podcaster, speaker, coach, and advocate, and I help purpose driven women own their voice and share their story through podcasting and speaking. I have two podcasts, The Story of My Pet, which is all about advocating and educating for animal rescue, and Podcast Your Story, which is all about amplifying women's voices in podcasting. As a guest, I love to talk all things podcasting. I specifically like to talk about how to be a strategic podcast guest and really be on the right podcast for what you want to come out of your guesting. I also can talk about launching a podcast on a budget and the best ways to grow and monetize your existing podcast. I really want your listeners to hear my tips and tricks and leave from this listening to this episode knowing what to do, their next steps as a podcast guest, host, or speaker. Okay, pretty good, right? I could go on, but we won't. So, I would ask for volunteers, but I do know Mary has to leave early, so I'm going to let her go first, and then I'll go to Elaine because she's a good student and raised her hand. And for those of you that don't know, I used to be a teacher. I used to teach college. I taught psychology and statistics. So sometimes I put on my teacher hat and know I have to just call on people because people don't like to always volunteer. Okay, let's get started. Mary, go ahead and unmute and pitch yourself to everyone.
Hi there, I am Mary Wu. I live in the lovely music city of Nashville, Tennessee. I am originally from Chicago, Illinois, so I bleed cubby blue. I'm a LinkedIn speaker, trainer, and consultant that does not have a podcast. I have often in my life struggled with consistency, and I will not create my own podcast unless I've got like 6 months planned out with guests. So I appreciate and know the struggle of the people that do. My main only topic as a guest would be for business focused podcasts or podcasts about promoting yourself. I love to explain to people how valuable LinkedIn is for business owners with a billion members, and CEOs typically are on there, and also people that make over 100,000 a year in the US. So it's a really valuable space to run a business. It's also a great place to find podcast guests and promote your podcasts. Um, Depending, I would have any conversation with a person if I'm going to be guesting on your podcast. I want to know what your audience needs and what they need as a takeaway. But if you have ever been in any session I have done, I usually give people 2 or 3 pieces of homework because I do not believe I should teach and not make people do. That's me, Mary Wu. Any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Great. Thank you so much. Let's give Mary some love for being the one to go first. You know, it's always nice when someone else does it for us. And I mean, definitely if you're not, follow Mary on LinkedIn because LinkedIn is a great place to promote your podcast, to find podcasts, to be on. And a hot tip before we move on, if you are a guest or a host, you should be using the LinkedIn newsletter feature. So you can create a newsletter about anything. I have one for both of my podcasts, and every new episode, I put out a new article. And it's great because people get notifications every time a new article comes out, and you're going to reach people you may not reach in other places. Yes, Mary.
And just a note on that, for I have a MailChimp newsletter that I've had for years. I have a LinkedIn newsletter. I get completely different open rates, completely different people viewing, and I get better open rates on my LinkedIn newsletter, which sort of makes me sad but happy.
Right. And you know, I'll once in a while I'm checking my notifications, I'll see 2 new subscribers. One I'm like, "Oh, hey, I didn't do anything, but people subscribe." So it's just a little hot tip for everybody. Okay, let's move on. Pitches. Elaine, would you like to go?
I would love to. Hi, it's so great to see everyone. So yes, my name is Elaine Williams. I am located in Dallas, Texas currently, and my company is Captivate the Crowd. My podcast is Captivate the Mic. And I do so many things. I'm trying to I'm a speaker coach. I do stand up. I am a short form video expert. And my mission is to help heal the world, one joke, one story, one video at a time. And I always need a big crew because I can't do it by myself. And my podcast is about, oh, yeah, I'm doing my guessing. I am as a motivational speaker, I'm really good at overcoming obstacles using humor and resilience, and also the power of healing through laughter. And then I'm also really good if you are a last minute, if somebody cancels, I have a lot of podcast friends that will be like, can you please? And I'm like, yeah, girl, because of my years and years of improv and Toastmasters. So if you need a last minute guest, I'm really good at like, okay, because I can talk about a lot of topics because I have been performing since I was in the second grade and I've been speaking, forever. And then I am also a short form video expert. I have a short form video program that I take people through and I help people weave their stories and show, not just tell, and make things engaging and fun because we need it. So that is, I mean, I could go on and on. I'm an author. I do lots of things, but that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you very much, Elaine. Let's give Elaine some love. And
Thank you.
it's hard when we can do a lot of things to narrow it down. And I will say that Elaine is an amazing coach. If you're a speaker or if you're having a hard time showing up on video, she helped give me some prep before I spoke at Podfest earlier this year. And she was also in the crowd taking photos and videos and cheering me on, which is always really nice to have when you're live and in person. So, okay, Amy Castro, you would like to go next. So go ahead and pitch yourself.
Yes, so I am pitching on two fronts as two different types of guests because I have a bit of a split personality. So I am by day and by trade and by paid a communication and leadership expert. And I work with organizations to help them solve their toughest communication problems, things like giving feedback with confidence, building trust with employees, leading through change. And I've trained thousands of professionals across a wide range of industries, from healthcare to aerospace, basically bringing them practical, real world kind of solutions that I think stick because I make them easy to learn. I'm also a certified speaking professional, which is a designation that is earned from the National Speakers Association, held by fewer than 17% of speakers worldwide. So I do know how to communicate my insights in a way that keeps people, kind of engaged. I think I'm kind of funny, so I usually throw in some humor, but really action-oriented tips for people. So if you have listeners that are looking for ways to strengthen their leadership or their assertiveness presence, if they want to communicate more clearly to achieve their goals, and basically, I think for a lot of people, especially, I love talking to women audiences, stop letting poor communication sabotage their success, then I can deliver that. And I do have a communication podcast called The Communication Edge that keeps getting pushed to the back burner, but it should be coming in 2026. So that's
I
one
did
hat.
not know that. I love that.
Yes. Yeah, it was supposed to be in 24, but the animal podcast keeps taking over. So, switching real quickly to my second guest pitch, which is my personal passion is pets. I run an animal rescue, and my goal in life is to keep pets in good homes where they belong. So, over the years, I've fostered more than 4,000 animals in my home. I've run an animal rescue. I coach pet parents every single day on challenges that they're facing when they're on the brink of giving up their pets. And I think I bring very real world, coming from the trenches experiences on everything from, your cat won't pee in the litter box and is peeing on your pillow instead, to dealing with multi-pet household chaos, why did I ever get the second dog kind of thing. And I think I also try to make things very practical, tips you can start employing today with a bit of humor, because I think pet parenting is kind of equal parts love and joy and disaster and hell. So if your audience is are people that care about pets, but maybe feel overwhelmed by juggling pets with maybe kids or family or work, I can help them find solutions, feel seen, feel heard, and maybe lighten the load a little. So those are my two pitches.
Yes, thank you, Amy. And I just dropped in the chat a link to my YouTube channel, the playlist where you can find our deep dive workshops. And Amy was our guest speaker this month. She did a whole hour on the niche triad and how to come out as a category of one as a podcast guest and speaker. So check that out on YouTube if you weren't able to attend. Thank you, Amy, so much. And if you couldn't have figured it out already, Amy and I connected because we both have pet podcasts and are very passionate about the world of animal rescue. So I'm very grateful to have you here. And Amy's pet podcast info, if you were interested in being a guest, is on the spreadsheet that I shared. Okay, next up is Michelle Walters. Ready to go, Michelle?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Julie. So my name is Michelle Walters. I live in Northern California in the East Bay. My business is I'm a marketing coach and I'm a hypnotherapist. I like to say that I help people with their message, their mindset, and their momentum. I have a podcast. My podcast is 3 years old now. It's called Mind Power Meets Mystic. I do it cooperatively with my podcasting partner, Cynthia Varkevisser, and we've had both Elaine and Julie on in the past. We talk about all kinds of sort of esoteric subjects and real life subjects, and it's a lot of fun. Mind Power Meets Mystic is my podcast. Today, I'm pitching myself as a guest. Three main topics that I speak on are hypnotherapy, my books, which I'll mention in a minute, and also I speak on marketing. I am really sincerely looking for opportunities right now to talk about hypnotherapy and in particular self-hypnosis. I just invented, yes, I'm an inventor, an app. Yes, an AI app called MakeMyHypno.com, which makes absolutely first-rate self-hypnosis recordings based on my teachings in my voice in a matter of about 5 minutes for people. And they're fantastic, and I really want to kind of get the word out and build my reach and credibility with Make My Hypno. I also do a marketing program, and I can speak to people because I have over 25 years of experience in marketing, and I've written 2 books in case you like to talk to authors. One came out earlier this year. It's called The ABCs of Conscious Leadership, and one came out a few years ago. It's called An Alignment of Spirit, Finding Work You Love. It is basically a law of attraction book about manifesting. So that's me in a nutshell. When I'm on a podcast, I leave people feeling activated and uplifted, and generally more in touch with who they are and their subconscious selves. So thank you for this opportunity, Julie, and I look forward to connecting with people.
Yay, thank you so much. Let's give Michelle some love. Thank you so much, Michelle. And also thank you for having me on your podcast. Oh, okay. Let's see. I will just start going around the Zoom room. Let's see. Christina, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hello. I hope we get to talking about our podcast because I would love to have some of you guys as guests, and so hopefully get to that. So I am a podcast host, but as my pitch, I am a parenting coach, and I help parents of school-age children to turn their chaos into connection with their adolescents. I love giving help to parents through a lot of different avenues, and so I could speak on a lot of different things. Some of the topics that I typically love to speak about the most, that is most relatable, is losing yourself in motherhood. Just when you become a mother and you just lose that girl you used to be. Also, like how to just raise the most successful children, how to balance work-life balance. Great thing about parenting is that it's just about in every single genre that there is. So if you have a business and you want to talk about that at all about how do you balance parenting. I'm your girl, and that people are going to come away from an episode with me with this feeling of I'm not alone. I completely relate. And I'm actually going to give them some tools to at least get started. So I feel like in the end, parents really feel good after episodes with me. So if you would like to know more, please reach out. And again, hopefully I can get some of you guys on my podcast, which I would love to pitch in just a little while.
Yes, I have you on the list as a host. I will definitely make sure you get that chance, Christina. Thank you very much. Let's give Christina some love. And I already see some of you doing this, but please feel free to drop your email, a connection link, whatever you would like to in the chat. I will share the chat in the follow-up email for everyone. Okay, next on my Zoom room blocks is the other Michelle. Would you like to go next?
Absolutely. Hey, y'all. My name is Michelle Bruning. I'm a certified leadership trainer, personal development coach, and speaker. And I am all about helping people who feel like they're stuck spinning their wheels, or they're caught in perfectionism, or they're constantly chasing other people's expectations, or simply second guessing themselves. My mission is to help people cut through the noise, to get out of their own way, to move forward. I am very much a coach with a tough love style and a bias for forward action. So when I get the privilege to be a guest on a podcast, I am all about having authentic, honest, no fluff conversations. I am very open about how my therapy experience helped me leave my toxic workplace, eventually move across the country, and start my own business, because I feel like too often leaders hide the messy parts of their journey because it can make them feel like it's detracting from their experience. But that is where the magic happens. And so I'm all about empowering people to share their own messy story. You never know who can benefit from it. And so a few of my many favorite topics are things like leadership, personal development, motivation, but more specifically, that perfectionism trap that high achievers fall into, thinking that if we do more, we'll get more, when in reality it might be holding us back. I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, Africa last year, and I pulled so many life and business lessons from that journey. And I love sharing about that experience. And so as a podcast guest, my goal is to leave your audiences with two things: practical strategies that they can use right away, whether that is how to tackle a difficult conversation, whether it's with yourself or with others, breaking your own cycle of perfectionism, or even just how to choose that next right step, how to apply that 1% improvement each day. And then second, I want to share stories that stick. Stories that get into the gritty, that get into the vulnerable. I might be too much of an open book sometimes for people, but I really feel like sharing stories that remind people to choose that growth over comfort and to take those bold steps even when the path is unclear are the types of stories that we need. So for anybody who has a podcast looking for guests, I would love to bring this energy and to share these stories and actionable insights that will hopefully leave your audiences ready to get off the couch and to start taking some action. You can connect with me on my website. I'll drop my podcast one sheet in the chat, and DM me anywhere. I'm there, except TikTok. Thank y'all.
Love it. So many of us need all of that energy that you just brought. And it's so true. You know, people, whether it's podcasting, speaking, marketing, stories are what people remember, not facts and lists and all of that. Stories, especially stories sharing the true messiness and how you overcame it. That is what people want to hear. So I love that, Michelle. Thank you so much. Let's give Michelle some love. And then next in my Zoom box is Katrina. Would you like to go next?
Sure. Yay. Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Katrina McGee. So I am a career break and sabbatical coach. I'm a certified life coach. I am the author of Taking a Career Break for Dummies, which is part of the official Dummy series. And I have my own podcast, Taking a Career Break with Katrina McGee, because the Dummies name is branded and I was not allowed to use it for my podcast. So we just made it very similar, but a little bit different. I'm a digital nomad, so I don't really live anywhere, or I kind of live everywhere, depending on how you think about it. I've been a nomad for 8.5 years. So homeless for 8.5 years. I have a primary business as a career break coach. And then I have a secondary business, which is co-founding an online community for people that want to take career breaks and sabbaticals, and it is called Break Space. And it is a really awesome place. We just celebrated a 1-year anniversary, and we've had over 100 members come through. So me, myself, I've been in Forbes, I've been in Fast Company, I've written books, I've done things, but more important than all of that, I've taken my own life-changing break back in 2013 when I was 32 years old, and walking away from first career as an actuary, second going to business school and getting an MBA and going into debt for that, and then third coming out and getting a great job as a market researcher and just realizing my life was not what I wanted. And that set me on this journey to make up a career, a third career, and help people do the same thing. So I've helped over 100 people take breaks, VPs, CEOs, but guidance counselors, teachers, and everyone in between. My mission is to make breaks more accessible. I'm very passionate about it, and I think they are super strategic. What I think I bring with me when I come to talk about breaks and people taking breaks and the power of a break is a powerful reframe on how to see it. So a lot of people have resistance to it or feel like it's a sign of weakness or just like this big kind of like bad mark on your resume or on you as a person. And it is absolutely a catalyst for you creating a better version of your life. I've seen it time and time again. Better jobs, more restored you, healing the burnout, dealing with the grief, but also thriving, finding joy, and like learning how to have an internal sense of validation instead of an external sense of validation so that you can go after the life that you really want. I am very passionate. I come with a high energy. Positivity is one of my top 5 strengths in StrengthsFinder. So I guess I was just maybe born this way. But I love being a podcast guest. I've been a guest on over 120 podcasts. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm really, really passionate about it. I like to sort of mix the inspiration and the stories and the client examples, because this is sort of a really out there concept for some people, but also land the plane with really tactical next steps, because I think a lot of people listen to an episode with me and walk away feeling really inspired, but it only means something if they know what to do next. So I like to kind of marry both of those together to leave people feeling inspired and motivated to take their next step. And outside of that, yeah, I feel like I'm really here to help people, understand more about taking career breaks and sabbaticals, but B, also think differently about following unconventional paths to success and navigating detours in their life and career.
Love it. Yes. As someone who worked in higher ed for 20 years, sabbaticals, all of those things I am very familiar with. And we all sometimes just need a break, right? From the everyday. That's what COVID was for me. And then I completely changed my career. So I love your focus on let's give Katrina some love, everybody. And I did want to mention, I'm going to drop in the chat just a couple other tips. One, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, I love Podmatch. That is a great service to find podcasts to be on. I will drop my link for that. And also, I'm doing a free workshop in October on how to be an awesome podcast guest. I love that Michelle dropped her podcast one sheet. I know we don't all have that. So if you're looking for some tips on that, you can check out my masterclass. Next month, which is actually tomorrow, is October. So we're not, it's crazy. I don't know how that happened, right? Okay, next up in my Zoom room is Super Kate. You ready to go?
Yeah. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Super Kate, and I help badass high achievers who often get that you are killing it when really they're killing themselves, trying to keep it all together and building their business at the cost of their mind and body, which while my business is still in, its first decade, I was a high achiever in the entertainment industry for years and burned myself out over and over again. And it wasn't until I really started understanding both the burnout aspect and the nervous system aspect that I started pulling myself and my clients out of that nasty little spiral that we get ourselves into. Because honestly, we're all doing this because we're super passionate and we want to bring change to the world. And the more that we do a disservice to ourselves by putting ourselves second, that pulls our message farther and farther back. So yeah, super passionate about changing the world here. Let's have more aligned leaders. Let's have more rested, more excited leaders. I am based in the middle of Illinois, And while my title is somatic life coach, I am better known as the weighted blanket for your nervous system. And as a guest, I like to speak on how your mindset isn't working because you forgot to include your body, why structure is the thing your nervous system is really craving, and that being calm doesn't mean being a doormat. I want your audience to walk away with a deeper understanding of how simple things every day, regulating the nervous system, can create sustainable success, meaning your business is going to go farther, your message is going to go farther. Simple tools that they can use without slowing down, because a lot of them just don't want to. They don't want to take the break. And while I will happily be with Katrina on like, let's take a break sometimes the passion is just there and you want to keep going with it. And just the general better understanding of why burnout keeps happening. I am not for the podcast host who simply wants to ask me questions and not be a part of the conversation. I like having a conversation, so I'm going to be asking questions back. So be ready. If you're, you can always edit it out later, but I do like asking the deep questions back too. Yeah, I think that's about it for me, but I really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Let's give Super Kate some love. And as a host who likes conversations, I oftentimes guests will ask me, well, can you send me the list of questions you're going to ask me? I'm like, no, because I don't know until we start talking. I mean, sometimes we know the question we start off with, but for me, I love my podcast to be conversational, like two friends talking about something, two coworkers, colleagues, whatever it may be. And those are the kind of podcasts I like to listen to. So I always love to hear when guests are like, that's what they want, because I'm not a fan of that either as a guest. I hate it when it's canned and you feel like you can only fit your answer within their box. So love that very much. Okay, so up next in the Zoom room is Valeska. Would you like to go?
Sure. Thanks so much again for having this, Julie. I love the formats that you present. They're really, really valuable. And at least for me, they've been great.
Thank you.
My name is Valeska Bacon. And right now I'm in Breckenridge, Colorado, which is delightful because it's aspen season, but I live in Denver. And kind of like Katrina, I aspire to be a digital nomad. And I find that I'm traveling all the time. So perhaps maybe I already am and don't even know it. I have two businesses that parlay into each other and into what I offer my clients and then the people on a podcast that I also host, and that is overwhelm. That is the main thread that goes through all of my work. I have two businesses, like I said. One is an executive assistant on a fractional basis. Called Valeska Strategic Solutions. And the other is divorce prep, where I help women that are going through divorce or contemplating divorce or just post-divorce work through divorce as a project management type of idea, because I am an empathic person. So it's quite challenging for me to deal with people that are in overwhelm, but I've been there and I want to help reduce it for them. My strength is, aside from I can talk to like any person in the whole wide world, much to the chagrin of my children and their lifetime of embarrassment, but is that I can develop a process for anything. And so to reduce the overwhelm for you when you're going through transition is one of the strengths that I bring to different hosts as far as a topic to discuss and to my clients. I wrote down my notes here so that I'd remember what to say. But truly, as far as the topics, it would be transitions, reduction in overwhelm, and how to create a process out of something that you might not think is able to be broken down into actionable steps. And what I found in the last few years after doing an inventory of my insurance, that I'm actually quite a traveler and I've done a lot of solo travel and a lot of high five to you, Michelle, because I was up there too, at Kilimanjaro. And so it's just all of the crazy, wild single woman traveling. And I didn't realize that that was its own topic, but apparently there's a myriad of podcasts out there for that. So what I would bring to your guests, or to your listeners, excuse me, with the call is actionable items relevant to whatever your topic is for your podcast. I'll put my one sheets in the chat, but I really think it's important that when I come as a guest to a podcast, that I've done the research on your podcast, that I know what kind of listeners you have, I know what your style of interview is, and um, and I'm totally willing to tell you I don't think we're a match, and that's okay. I'm also willing to tell people that on my podcast, I don't think we're a match. Like, I think what you do is really valuable, but it's not really a good thing for me or my listeners. So that's where I stand. And feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, I'll put my one sheets in. I have 3 different ones: one for me as a guest, one for my podcast in general, and then one what to expect as a guest on the podcast itself.
Love that. Thank you so much, Valeska. Let's give Valeska some love. Yeah, and oh my gosh, so much hot tips in what you just said. Things that I'm always telling people about in my classes in my community is you want to listen ahead of time. You want to see if these are the people you want to be speaking to on a podcast, because otherwise, in some ways, you're wasting your time being a guest if it's not your people listening. And I've said no to many of amazing podcasts because I realized it was mostly men listening. And even though, yeah, I can help men in podcasting, that's not my target. That's not my people. And so that's such an important thing to know as both the guest and a host, right? Sometimes see these people like, oh my God, they're amazing, but are they really right for our podcast and our listeners? So that was really great that you mentioned that, Valeska. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Lawana, you are up next. Are you able to come on screen?
Let's see here.
We see your background. There she
Don't
is.
look too bad. Sorry about that.
No worries. Go ahead.
Actually, I haven't started my podcast yet. I want to start one, and I want it to be on reading stories because that's something I really love doing. And listening to all of you, I'm not sure if there's a market for it. I haven't really investigated into it. I just know that it's something that I was doing on TikTok, and I truly loved doing that until my account got hacked and stolen from me. So I thought, well, I'll move it someplace else. But I'm not sure on the podcast. So if anyone has any suggestions on what I can do, how I should do it, I would definitely welcome that.
Lawana, we'll definitely talk. But
Romance, in case you're wondering, romance. I don't read just anything. It's got to be romance, all right? And sometimes the romance is pretty exciting.
I will say I have
I
someone that
don't get raunchy, okay?
I have someone I'm going to connect you with. She has a podcast about smut, about romance novels and such. So I will connect you. But there are a lot of storytellers on podcasting. It's a great place. So go ahead and pitch yourself as a guest.
All right. Well, I talk on romance stories, and I do also talk on journaling and sometimes manifestation, mainly on journaling because journaling helped me so much when I was in a really down place. And that led me to actually writing my first book that's published over on Amazon, Courage to Live My Dream, because had it not been for me journaling, and it wasn't my idea, nobody's going to tell me I'm wrong. But I heard this voice, and I believe it was the voice of God saying, journal. So that's what I started doing. And it has been a tremendous help. And I like to believe that I have helped a number of other people who have listened to my story and shared my tips and things on how to get started, because a lot of people want to journal, but they're afraid. They're not sure what to do. And as I tell them, just write whatever's on your mind. And if you can't think of anything, look out the window and write about what you see out there, or take a picture, something that gets the brain working. Because once you start, then all of a sudden ideas come into your head about what to write. And I'm very happy to say I just finished my very first romance that I personally wrote. And I'm so excited about that because I've wanted to do that for years, and I finally decided. Actually, it was that voice again and said, enough is enough. Right. So I wrote it.
Love that. Love that, Lawana. Thank you so much. And
You're
feel
welcome.
free to drop your website or any links you want to in the chat. There's plenty of place for storytellers and sharing journaling and podcasting. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And Julie, can I pipe in really quick? So, Dr. Lawana, one of my clients is a cozy murder mystery author, and I just attended her wedding, and I was surrounded by all these other authors. Her sister is a romance author. Anyway, there's a huge community of really cool female authors who support each other. I mean, men too, but there's a whole community. And I think I love what you're doing. And I think it's really exciting. And I think the idea of like reading your own stuff or other people's is lovely. So
Would
I'm
you tell
happy to
me
put
where
you
to
in touch.
find this community? Because I could definitely use some support. I've
yeah, and
already started my second one.
I follow Elaine's client, Kristen. Kirsten or Kristen? I can't
Here's
remember.
Kirsten Weiss.
Kirsten. And
She's
she's
written
great. And
70 books.
yeah,
70.
she's a great person to look at. Okay, we have one guest left to pitch, and then we will do a speed round of the hosts in the room to pitch their podcasts. But while I have everyone here, I'm not sure, Mary, if you can come back on screen. Let's get an official photo so I can share it on social media. So I'll give everybody a countdown. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you so much. And I will post that later today and tag everyone. Okay, last but not least, Tanya, would you like to pitch yourself? Let's. Oh, for a second, it looked like she was frozen. Are you there? Can you unmute and pitch yourself? There you go.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry about that. I'm having mouse issues. It's freezing, not me.
No worries. Go right
Oh,
ahead.
well, it's nice meeting all you ladies. I'm Tanya Tyus from Legendary Events. I am a spotlight architect, and by that I mean that I love working with women. I put them on stages to teach what they know. I believe we all have a story to tell and we all have services to offer people. I will in January be launching a Tanya Talks talk show. And we will have those meaningful back and forth conversations. I got this idea from as I give my events, I provide the speakers with a interview that I do, and they end up being these great conversations about their topic, but also about them, which helps them endear them to the people who are coming to the conference. So I figured I do that as a thing in 2026. I have a hard story to tell. Um, I've been dealing with cancer since 2017, and it's not a curable cancer, but God's got me, and I've been through 2 stem cell transplants, and I'm still here. So in January, it will be a full year of being cancer free. So, what a better time to launch something.
Love it.
I'll be looking for guests. I'll put my information in the chat. And if anyone would love to talk about what we're going to talk about, the subjects are going to change depending on the guest. I'm not going to lock into one topic. Like, all we're going to talk about is events, or all we're going to talk about is the mistakes you make at events. No, I really want you to share your stories.
Love it. Love that, Tanya. And I'll make sure you have the link to the spreadsheet that I'm sharing with everyone. So when you're ready to officially sign guests up, you can add yourself to that and people will be able to go directly to your sign up for guests. Thank you so much. I'm so happy you're here. And I love that you have a date plan for your launch. That's the first step, right, podcasters?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And saying it publicly means we're all going to hold you accountable to it too.
Oh,
Okay, I
pretty fun.
just dropped, I think I dropped it in the chat. What happened? Oh, there it is. Sorry. Weird. Valeska mentioned if I give advice or feedback on pitching, and I am happy to do so. So I dropped my connect link in the chat. If you want to talk about pitching yourself, your one sheet, or just help finding the right podcast, grab a spot on my calendar. I'm happy to talk about that with you. I also dropped the link. I'm doing this Pitch Fest again on November 4th. So if you would like to come back, you are welcome to. You can share with your fellow podcast hosts and guests to come as well. And I'll be talking a little bit more at the end about my membership and how, because this Pitch Fest is a part of my membership if you are in it. So you don't have to sign up separately. But before that, I want to make sure all the hosts get a chance to do a quick pitch. So I have Christina, Elaine, Amy, Michelle Walters, and Valeska. Those are my hosts in the room. Did I miss any other hosts? Did I? Okay, so that's what it is. Now, Christina, I'm gonna let you go first since you mentioned it in your pitch, and then we'll go around to everybody else. So let's do a quick 1 minute. Tell everybody about your podcast and what kind of guests you're looking for.
All right, so I have the Impactful Parenting podcast. I talk about all things parenting and really all things parenting. So it's anything that you can do. Like some people have amazing stories about being a parent and something that happened to them and that you overcame it. I'm telling you, there's a parent out there that needs to hear how you did it, or even that you had a, you had a kid that was really difficult. Any personal story. I love getting people on there. You don't actually have to teach anything. You can just talk about you and how you parented and have somebody identify with you. But other people also have something to pitch. Maybe you're an author, maybe a book that has something relatable to parents, anything that helps parents. So I've had financial advisors and nutritionists and everything, because all of that helps parenting. You can't be a good parent unless you're taking care of yourself. And so it's all the things, really just about everything you do rubs to parenting anyway. So but I am looking for different angles if you're going to go that direction of a health way, because I've been doing my podcast for about 5 years. So I am looking for different angles with that, but I'm sure you can find one. So if you can, I gave all my information over to the spreadsheet. So hopefully it'll get added to that. Contact me and we'll just start chatting.
Yay, love that. Thank you so much, Christina. Yes, I will. If anybody gives me info today, I will update the spreadsheet before I send up the follow-up email. So you'll get this recording, you'll get the spreadsheet, all the links I'm sharing in a follow-up email later today. And Valeska, I think Valeska reminded me that the link I shared earlier, which I'll share again in the email, the deep dive Amy did on that same playlist on YouTube, is the deep dive that Alex Sanfilippo, who is the founder of Podmatch, did in the community in July. Highly recommend watching that. He knows what he's talking about. He is very successful with Podmatch and gives some super great tips for being a strategic podcast guest in that. Okay, next up, Elaine, go ahead and pitch your podcast to everybody.
So my podcast is Captivate the Mic, and I love having energetic, engaging females who are willing to tell a captivating story and are open to just a little bit of love seat. It's not a hot seat, but a love seat of like, I loved it when you did this. And next time, what if you paused? Or, just a couple little tips, because I wanted to make a podcast that was how to be a great speaker, but a lot of them are so boring. So I was like, can we add a little humor? And so I've actually had some really great men too, but I want it, to be some kind of transformational story. I love stories that stick. I'm learning so much from this today, and being willing to take just a fun few suggestions. And yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Elaine. And it's so true. I helped Elaine launch her new podcast, and that was some of the things we saw in the research, that the podcasts about being speakers were so stuffy and boring. And I'm like, if I listened to this, I would not want you to be a speaker at one of my events because I feel like you're putting me to sleep. So, again, another reminder, please listen to podcasts before you go on them. I've made the mistake of not doing it and been on some ones I probably would have said no to if I really had listened and been like, this is not my vibe.
Can I ask you a quick question, Julie? So
Yeah.
many people are approaching me to be on podcasts, and I say, well, can you please subscribe and listen to one and then come back? Is that
That's
okay?
fine. Own
Okay.
that, podcast host. And one way that you can really hit this is in your guest form. Ask them to list. So you listened to my podcast. What's one takeaway you got? Or what was your favorite episode? Or what did you get from it? Because then they have to have at least listened to part of one. And also, what I love in pod matches now, when you're sending a message to somebody you've been matched with, it actually says, please listen before you submit this message. We will tell them you listened because you hit play in the system, and then they know that you actually listened. So it is a really important thing to do. Okay, next up, quick, we have a few minutes left. Michelle Walters, go ahead and tell everyone about your podcast.
My podcast is called Mind Power Meets Mystic because I am the mind power. I'm the hypnotist, and my podcast co-host Cynthia Varkevisser is an intuitive, mysticy kind of person. This year, we have been doing a series on the chakras and talking to people who have jobs that relate to a particular chakra about that. So we're looking for guests for the remainder of 2025 on that. If we can relate your job to a chakra, you might fit. And then we'll be looking for guests in 2026 on kind of a broader range of topics. We like talking to coaches. We like talking to astrologers. We like talking to ghost hunters. We talk to all kinds of, what I think of as just interesting people who have fun stories to share and fun things to do. We put out an episode every week. Sometimes it's with both of us. Sometimes it's one of us. It's kind of a big hodgepodge, but that's the way we like it. So if that sounds like a fit, you're welcome to send me an email. We can find a time to you can listen, and then we can do a check-in. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you. And one thing I do want to mention, I'm going to drop in the chat the link for the Women's Podcaster Party. We have October and November dates available. I am currently looking for speakers for next year. So it is in the spreadsheet I shared. You can fill out the wait list and mark that one, and then we can chat about what you might want to speak on, how it relates to podcasting. Okay, we have 2 hosts left. Valeska, want to go next?
Sure, it can be quick. My podcast is called Divorce Dividends. I dropped a link in the chat, but I'll pop it in again. Focused on divorce, focused on women, but finding that the types of speakers that I'm looking for are guests, less than a speaker, because I want it to be more of a conversational podcast. Or anybody that has something to do with transition. I find that there's so many topics, and it's all about how I title my episode based on how much download there will be. I have had a lot of financial people, which is like, I guess, what I do, but also it's just a lot. Like, not everybody wants to talk about money. But at the same time, I've had psychiatrists and therapists and coaches and a lot of, excuse me, being, and that's it. And so I'm looking for a podcast guest. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Are you kidding? That's like joy right there. That's
Right.
joy
Oh,
and
look
love.
at that face. We have a
Oh my
cat in
God.
Amy's box. So, oh, there's another. Oh, I always love it when the pets are shown.
She's
Love
like,
that.
rub my belly.
But
Good corgis,
what I want
too.
to say about Valeska's, I know it's focused on divorce, but I think several other people mentioned transitions. And there's a lot of aspects to transitions that can be general, but still tie into divorce. I have friends going through it right now, and it's so layered, all the decision making and all the things that are changing because of it. So I could see you have really have a wide breadth of what you could have as guests. Okay, last but not least, Amy, please talk about your podcast.
Yes, so my podcast is the Pet Parent Hotline. It is an education offshoot of my animal rescue with the goal of putting rescues out of business. I personally am getting out of the rescue business, and that's a whole other conversation for another time. But my plan is to use the podcast or continue to use the podcast as a way to help animals stay in good homes. So I'm looking for guests who have expertise that will support pet parents in saving money on pet care, dealing with behavior problems, finding that lifestyle balance of pets, whether it's traveling with pets or going through life stages, divorce, marriage, having a baby, whatever it might be. So generally I'm looking for people who are pet related experts, but finance experts, things like that, on how people can save money, organization experts or home. I mean, I've even got somebody coming on to talk about home decor and how you can have pet friendly home decor without having your pets destroy your stuff. So anything that will keep a pet in a home and keep them from calling me and saying I need to give up my dog or my cat because I want to have people on. It's all about problem solving. Then just one key point, because people have asked this, I am not currently looking for like human interest kind of things, like about the story about how you rescued your dog, those kind of things. I've done that, and that's kind of not the direction for the show right now. So it's really about solving immediate pet parent problems for people that are on the brink of giving up their pets.
No, that's so important. And if you have the other stories she mentioned, you can send them my way. That's more of what
Yeah,
my
there you
pet
go.
podcast covers, is the heartwarming and inspiring stories of how pets have changed our life, how they help us through hard things. But so much of what Amy's saying is so important, because if you don't already know, there is a overpopulation crisis in our country, and it is only being made worse by the now challenging economy. Shelters were already overpacked and it's getting worse. I don't know how it could get worse, but it is. So, very important topics if it's something you want to speak on or someone that would be a good fit for her podcast. Okay, so we got through everybody right on time. Yay, I'm so happy. Well, I want to just say thank you to all of you for coming. Again, I will send a follow up email with the recording and all the links. If you'd like to come to the next Pitch Fest, I gave you the link, or you can join my Podcast Your Story community. It is a part of your monthly fee. And starting today through Friday, I am opening up again my lifetime access to the community. So you pay once and you can come to the monthly events, Pitch Fest, everything for as long as you want to, as long as I'm still here doing it. And so if you or someone might be interested in that, the link is in the chat. I'll also send it with an email. But I do really just want to thank all of you for spending your time with me today, sharing a bit of your stories, what you can help people with, how you can inspire them, and just shared this moment on International Podcast Day. This is such an important thing for women, to support women and to get more women's voices in podcasting. So thank you all for being here, and I hope to see you at the next Pitch Fest.
Thank you.
Bye,
And Julie,
everybody.
this was so helpful. Let's
Thank
give Julie a
y'all.
round of applause. Like, woo! This
Thank
was
you.
so helpful to see other people pitching, and yes, awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Learn by doing is what I always say. Well, thank you again. Have a great
Okay.
rest of your day, and I will see you all soon.
Bye.